On MSNBC, we wanted to visit, and we're talking about reparations and, how our ancestors built the infrastructure of this country, built it from the ground up. And I want you to check out this quick clip.
By slaves. He was absolutely correct. If you look on a timeline, the history of the United States is still fairly brief, and slavery was abolished a mere 155 years ago. It wasn't just the White House that was built using slave labor, by the way. The building that serves as our country's political center, the United States Capitol, was built and rebuilt using slave labor after its sacking in the War of 1812. Although most northern states had abolished slavery by 1804, it's had its fair share of symbols erected using slave labor. If you're familiar with the Trinity Church in New York's financial district, you may not know that the clergy rented enslaved people to build its iconic spires, as well as the wall that used to snake down what we now know as Wall Street. Many of our forefathers were enslavers. Thomas Jefferson's entire property in Charlottesville, Virginia, Monticello, was built and run by enslaved people. Enslaved people also helped build our intellectual centers. Georgetown University, one of the country's oldest colleges, built most of its campuses after the sale of 272 enslaved people in the 1830s. Many schools with storied histories were built in part by enslaved people, including Harvard University's Law School and the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. That school's campus was maintained by slave labor until its abolishment in 1865. Poor record keeping and indifference by early historians makes it nearly impossible to know every contribution made to these buildings, but there's no doubt about how they got built.
A lot of institutions today that's still erected, as you see the Capitol, you see the White House, many of your prestigious colleges like Georgetown University, many of them out there, PWIs, were built by slave labor, for free. And what Black Americans are saying today is we literally can see what our ancestors built. It's still in our face today. You're using it every single day. Many of these places had, your colleges had slaves. Many, the slave owners, of course, some of them were presidents like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, were slave owners. And we got slave owners as an inscription on the money. That's just period. But this video is part of making, a further case, for reparations. No other group in this country can say they built what Black America has built. And they come here and say, oh, I've become successful. How y'all not successful? Well, you calling a degree successful? A piece of paper from a university success that is diminishing in value every day. If you didn't actually pick a skill that people can't just do like that. Skilled trades are one of the best things you can do, actually. Oh, you open up a business. There are people opening businesses all over the world every day, not just here in the United States of America. You obtained a house. People obtaining homes every day, all over the world, not just here in the United States of America. But yet you come over here, some people, and want to look down on Black Americans, even though our history have shown that even after slavery, our best time was Reconstruction. Those 10 years after the Civil War, when Black people got to build without dealing with white supremacist terrorism, because they were being protected by the Union troops. But when they made that great compromise with the South and removed the Union troops, that's when all the sabotage and the terrorism started happening to Black people again. No other group have dealt with the immense sabotage. You cannot show me a Chinatown in America that has been destroyed. They build it right back up, destroy it again, build it back up, destroy. No, you can't find that. You can't find a little Mexico that's been destroyed like that. You can't find a little India has been destroyed like that. Everybody that come in here can build up their communities and don't have to deal with white supremacist terrorism. But we had to constantly deal with that. We had to deal with Jim Crow. We had to deal with segregation. We had to deal with convict leasing. We still deal with slavery today. The 13th Amendment still allows slavery in the guise of being imprisoned. And they make sure that you try to imprison poor Black men, or in Black men in situations that just put them just in the clutches of the prison industrial complex, with people owning private prisons. No one is targeted like that. No one hasn't had a drug dropped in their community like Black people. You're talking about the crack epidemic. What crime bills have people put together to target any of these other groups that come into this nation? And even after all that, black people are still ticking and still thriving even to this day. We would be 100 times further than what we are. But no other group could say they have dealt with the exact same thing. This is why they got to attach themselves, or another word y'all like saying today, tether themselves to the black struggle. Because in order for them to get anything, they have to attach themselves to the black struggle. When they say Asian cannot say they went through what black people went through in this country. This is why they say, well, black and Asian or black and LGBT. You understand what I'm saying? Or black and anti-Semitic. They try to attach and tether these people to us because we justify the reason why we should be getting set-asides, reparations, everything. These other groups can't justify anything on their own. This is why every time we do something, here they come. It's not that we call them to come to anything. When George Floyd, when that jumped off, we didn't call them other groups. We didn't say, hey, we need y'all out here. Please help us. No. We have always been on our own 10 toes down. Other groups have always came in with their own thought process of, yeah, let me go ahead on and graft myself to black people and what they're doing because let's say in the 1960s, the Italians were being discriminated against, who were white. The Polish, the Irish, all these different people were being discriminated against. And after the civil rights movement happened, the white society said, okay, we're going to let the Italians in the white society. We're going to let the Polish, we're going to let the Irish, we're going to let all these people. Fast forward later, they on the police force doing the exact same thing like the other ones. But you go back to the civil rights movement, they was beating them, discriminating against them and everything. They always got to attach themselves to us. See, and the reason why I'm not for about anybody attaching themselves to us no longer is because every time that we have joined with other groups, we have always got the raw end of the deal. We need to be focusing on getting Black America right. And reparations is definitely one of the things that we should be doing. But I also say we should be unifying and buying land and building too. Because today is totally different than the time of Black Wall Street. During the time of Black Wall Street, we couldn't arm ourselves like we can do it now. And they can't get away with things they used to get away with back in that time period now. We as a community got to stop being so shook and stop being so freaking scared and go it on and unify with each other and start buying up land. There's so much land in America that's not even habited at all that black folks can buy and start building something. Because my issue with Black America is that we got the spirit and the knowledge of builders, but we're not building. We want them to treat us better underneath their stuff instead of going and build our own and unifying together to build our own. They've been preaching that in the Nation of Islam forever, and yet it still has not been done because it's like in black folks' mind, you're so broken in your mind. I just believe you're broken. You don't want to build anything because a lot of you in your heart scared. I mean, because a lot of you are scared. You scared them folks gonna go. You so scared that you don't even want to make them mad with you for any reason. Well, I wasn't trying to. All they got to tell you to make you scared is, well, if you guys buying land and trying to build homes and schools, for your kids, isn't that like segregation? I mean, wow. I mean, if segregation was here at one point in time, you guys didn't want it. Now you want to segregate yourselves, and y'all will fall for that every time. Because you value what they say about you. You value that. Why do you value anything that they say about you? You know good and well you need to build something of your own. Notice they don't go tell that to the Asian community when they go build Chinatown. They don't tell that to the Hispanic community. They don't tell it to the Arab community. They don't say nothing about that segregation crap to those people. Nothing at all. You notice they only tell it to you because it works. Because those other groups, they shuck and jive and raccoon with them people. But at the end of the day, they going to be on code with their own to build something. And that's what we need to be doing. You sit up here and fight about America and so afraid of doing other things and say, okay, what are you building here? What are you building? What land are you buying? Because there's other groups that's coming in here. They're coming buying land. They're setting up shop. If we would actually buy the neighborhoods that we was actually in, nobody could gentrify you. They're just that simple. So if we got the spirit of builders in us, and the majority of you talking about this is our land and XYZ, okay. Well, why aren't you buying the land? Buy the land. Build on the land. That's the message that I gotta say. Because all that talk about this, that, look, if you ain't buying land and you're not building anything, you just at the mercy of whoever coming in next with their dollar and get your behind right up off of wherever place you at. Black folks got to start building again. And if so much land you can get in the South is ridiculous. And black folks can move to certain states and take over certain states. That would be smart too. And then once you take over a certain state by population, then you start taking over the politics. You start taking over every bit of the politics. Black folks, you don't need no, I've heard people say in the past, we need our own state. You don't need your own state, nothing. You just need a concerted effort to move to a state or a few states and outnumber whoever's there. And like I say, Louisiana, Mississippi, about 2 states you could flip very easy. Very, very easy. That's the 2 states you could flip. What if instead of everybody moving from California to Texas, what if everybody's moving from California to Louisiana? I'm talking about black folk. All the black people that's moving, go to Louisiana, go to Mississippi, and then start taking that over. I mean, I understand why they come to Texas, Houston and Dallas, for sure. I get it. But to be real with you, we don't have a big presence in Texas like that. We have certain pockets, but we don't have a big presence because Texas is mostly, Caucasians and Hispanics. That's what it mostly is. You got some Asian here, of course, some Arab, other groups, yes. But I'm talking about who dominates is those 2 groups in Texas. Mississippi and Louisiana is 2 states real quick that black folks would make a concerted effort, say we go come in and look, if we would do it with our best and brightest, flood those states, start buying up the land and start making moves. Look, I'm with you on that. I even do that with y'all. I'll move to one of those states with you, right? But it has to be a concerted effort and that we got to do some things. I'm not going to just do nothing for no reason. And I'm not going to do nothing by myself. I'm a firm believer of that too. Because when you do it by yourself and you put the target on your back, when you got 1,000 people, 2,000 people, 3,000 people doing something, what is making a movement to move to these states, right? Then you could actually get a governorship. Black folks don't even have a governorship. But you could possibly get it in Louisiana and Mississippi for sure. So instead of doing all the talking and still having an identity crisis, let's get to building and buying up the land that's in America. Because if you don't buy no land, trust me, others are coming and they're going to buy the land and get your behind right off of it. But y'all leave me a comment. Let me know what y'all think about, this situation here. You say you have the spirit of a builder. Get back to building in America.